Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Game From Scratch, and today we're talking about the ongoing John Riccitiello-ification going on over at Unity. If you don't know anything I'm talking about, sit down. This is an interesting story for sure, and we'll start at the very beginning. You see, back in the mid-2015s, Unity hired John Riccitiello as their CEO, and a lot of people think, well, this is basically when everything started to go bad. Now, his previous role was over as CEO over at Electronic Arts. The question might be, well, how did he do there? Well, this was his term, so there's about where he got fired. So let's just say it didn't go great. And how do you define not that great? Well, actually, under his term in 2012 and 2013, EA actually got voted the worst company in America back to back. No other company has ever done that. So as a CEO, he has a sterling reputation for ruining companies. So I never did understand this hire, although a lot of people speculated there was one reason and one reason alone, and that was to prepare Unity for an IPO. An IPO, or initial public offering, is when a company basically offers itself as stock and a whole bunch of people get very rich. So this was postulated in 2019, and of course it's exactly what happened. In 2020, Unity went public. They were valued at $13.6 billion after this initial public offering. So on that level, John Riccitiello did his job. He did bring the company public, and then all the woes started. And there were lots of woes, but they were like flush with cash, and they actually went up quite a bit from that $13 billion valuation. So they went on a bit of a buying spree. So they acquired a company called a software called Art Engine from Artomatics. This one is dead already. So by the way, spoiler alert, Art Engine no longer exists as a product, which is frustrating because it was actually a pretty cool, this was AI-driven software before AI was a big thing. It could do things like automatically upsample textures, make things seamless if it was single click, that kind of thing. It's gone. So that was a waste of money. They bought SpeedTree. This one's just kind of continuing along. They continue to develop SpeedTree. It's basically a standalone product, but yep, SpeedTree is another one they acquired. They also bought Weta Digital for $1.6 billion. That's a lot of money, especially for how this one turns out, spoiler alert. And then they bought Ziva Dynamics, the main reason why we were talking about today. So basically, they went on a huge spending spree, and let's see how that all turned out. So from there on, we saw later on in 2022, it's not just because of their IPO, but Unity had a lot of stock troubles going forward. Basically, their stock went into free fall. A lot of things did. There was money problems on the market in general, but Unity also made a bunch of really stupid purchases. They also bought Parsec, by the way, which they still continue to own. And then they had a number of layoffs, and it seems like they're kind of, oh crap, how are we going to get out of this? Was to merge with a company called IronSource, which does mobile analytics, mobile ads, and some people say malware delivery. It wasn't the most popular merger in the history of mergers, so that was another one of the moves they made. So, then they reintroduced the runtime feed. You remember that? That didn't go over very well. That was in September of last year. They wanted to start charging a runtime fee on Unity because they had to keep the stock market happy and they needed to make more money. So they tried to charge a flat percentage on any game ever made with Unity. It didn't go over well. They eventually walked that back. Now it's a bit of a hybrid between a percentage-based revenue share if you make over a certain threshold, and of course still per seat fight licensing. Who knows how much damage they did to the brand with this move, but definitely developers did not like the runtime fee. So that ultimately led to this. John Riccitiello is gone, Riccitiello. And that was, I think, a move many people were waiting for. So he was no longer CEO and no longer president of Unity. It's a big move, actually, because of being the head of the company, the CEO, makes it hard to fire as the president of the company. So having him basically out was a good move. This came from the whole boom thing going on. Like that definitely was not a great. The runtime fee definitely did not do well. But it's not just the runtime fee. Look at all of the other acquisitions he's made, and let's see how they turned out. By the way, they almost immediately laid off a number of people, including Weta Digital. So that $1.6 billion they spent in 2021, well, in 2023, it became basically zero. They still own the technology that they acquired from Weta Digital, but all of the staff were basically let go. So 265 people, or almost 4% of their global workforce, were let go in this move. Not the greatest development there. So of John Riccitiello's moves, we'll just say that Art Engine and Weta Digital definitely didn't work out because they're both zeros at this point in time. And then they followed that up with massive layoffs. Now, what do I mean by massive? Well, I mean a quarter of the company. So 1/4 of the company was let go. This was all done by their interim CEO, James M. Whitehurst, formerly of Red Hat, by the way. I've met him. He seems like a very reasonable guy, and he's focusing on a reset. So he's talking about doubling down on the core features of the company and moving away things like, obviously, they just got rid of Weta Digital. And then also another good bit of news, this kind of came immediately after that 25% of people were let go. The ironSource founders, so the people that the executive team from ironSource merger, they're all gone now too. So let's just say that ironSource thing didn't exactly work out great either. So they're all gone, and other people are being promoted within the company. So a lot of the executives from ironSource are out. 6-month transition period, so some of them may actually still be there, but their effectiveness or their overall control of Unity has definitely been lessened. And then Unity announced that they were selling off their digital twins business. This is basically a business for recreating the real world used in engineering and manufacturing environments, that kind of things. That area has been sold off to a company called Capgemini. They at least maybe got some money out of this one, so maybe this one isn't quite as bad as the other moves, but this was another big area that John Riccitiello pushed them to go into. And then that leads us to today's news, and I think we're almost at the end, because pretty much every single thing that John Riccitiello did, other than buying SpeedTree and Parsec, has now been undone. So they just got rid of Ziva Dynamics. So today's announcement, users of Ziva Effects, Ziva Realtime, Ziva Face Trainer, and related Ziva products received a notice from Unity that we are no longer actively selling or supporting these products. Active subscribers have the option to convert their existing license to a 5-year term in the Ziva customer portal so they may continue to use the products beyond the expiration date of their existing license. Decision is part of our ongoing company reset. That's what I'm calling the John Riccitiello-ification. And Unity, we are focused on our core, the Unity editor and runtime, Unity Cloud, and our monetization solutions. By focusing on these few areas, we believe we can best serve our community needs. Unity has also entered into an agreement with DNEG, a leading technology-enabled visual effects and animation company, for the creation of feature film, television, and multi-platform content for an exclusive perpetual license of the Ziva IP. Unity will continue to retain ownership of all technology acquired by Ziva Dynamics, and we will continue to evaluate the best way to enhance our core offering with it over time. We thank you to all the creators who tried Ziva over the years. So yeah, Ziva is gone. If you're wondering what Ziva is all about, do you remember that Enemies demo at the GDC? I think it was last year. Like, not this one, but the previous year. Yeah, that was Ziva. So it's used in film for real-time face. Basically, they were trying to compete with Meta Creations, and all of their moves to try and move into film and to compete with UE, like at the high end, have just been an absolute, utterly waste of time. And as we saw, most of these moves have been completely undone. So if you are a Ziva customer, well, bad news. Ziva is gone. If you're a Unity customer for games, honestly, this is still all pretty much good news. I viewed the last development as good news as well, when they sold off their digital twins division, and I think moving out of all these areas, moving out of Wedge Digital, moving out of Ziva, moving out of Digital Twin, and all these other areas, and focusing on your game and your game monetization and the cloud portal stuff, that makes all kinds of sense. The rest of the stuff was basically just Unity burning through money because their last CEO seemingly was a bit of an idiot. But they've basically undone everything from the Riccitiello era at this point in time. Ziva gone, ironSource effectively gone-ish. We've got Weta Digital gone. Yeah, it just kind of keeps going and going. So let me know what you think. Were you a Ziva user? Are you depressed by this news? But yeah, pretty much the legacy of John Riccitiello, it's just proving to be a very, very, very expensive mistake. Now, the sad thing is, all the people that invested in Unity and put him in charge as a CEO, well, they all got paid when it went IPO. So it's really just the late investors and us poor users that are getting screwed by his decision. So definitely do not cry for him. He sadly got paid. All right, let me know what you think. Comments down below. I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.